Давай, просто не можливість.
So thank you very much, everybody, for coming to this presentation. Actually, cryptocurrency and blockchain technology got a lot of attention lately. And then now I will do a brief presentation about this technology. I will try to make it as simple as possible so everybody can understand it, even if you have no background on IT. So what is cryptocurrency? Cryptocurrency is a new type of digital money that uses cryptography to securely send, receive money using the internet, securely. So, in cryptocurrency, we have two words, crypto and currency. Crypto means cryptography. Cryptography means that I can take a simple message, for example, this is my secret message, and I can transform it to a string of characters that anybody cannot read. Actually, cryptocurrency, they have many functionalities. You can send money anywhere in the world, anytime, almost instantaneously, and without intermediaries like banks or PayPal or MasterCards. You don't need people to trust to send your money, and you can send them with no transaction fees. So there are a lot of coins. We call them altcoins. There is Bitcoins and a lot of other coins. Each one has its own functionalities. Some of them, they emphasize speed of transactions. Some of them, they emphasize security. And some of them, they emphasize low transaction fees. And all of these cryptocurrencies, they use a blockchain technology. So now we will talk about blockchain. What is a blockchain? A blockchain is a chain of blocks that contains data. It is very secure. Once we put a data in the blockchain, it is very difficult to change it. So what is a block? As I said, a blockchain, it's a series of blocks. Each block has data. We can put data inside. And each block has its own number. We call it a hash. A hash is like the digital signature of the block, of the data inside the block. Once we put data here, hash, which is the block number, it's a string of 64 numbers and letters. It represents the fingerprint of this data inside the block. And also, this block has previous block number. So a hash, as I said, is like a digital signature. Any change of the data inside the block will automatically change the block hash. So that's why it acts as a digital signature. So this way we can make sure and know if someone changed the data inside the block. We can just compare the hash of the block. So now we can see this is a picture of a blockchain. For example, we have many blocks. This is block 1. It has data inside and the hash. So I made just 4 characters to make it simple. Normally it's 64 characters. So this number is the fingerprint of the data inside the block. And the number of the previous block here, because this one is the first block, so there is no number, it's 0. And in the second block, also there is data, and the hash of the block, which is, as I said, the fingerprint of the data. And this second block, it points to the first block. You can see this is the same number, the hash of the previous block. So this is why we call it makes a chain. So we call it blockchain. The same with the block number 3, it contains data, the hash, and also the number of the previous hash. So like this, we can make sure that the data inside the block has not been changed. But what will happen if someone wants to tamper with this block and change the data inside the block? So if someone changed the data inside this block, as I say, automatically the hash of the block will change. And then you can see that this block tree points to a previous block, which is not the same anymore because it was changed. And then this breaks the chain, and then this block becomes invalid. So this block and all the other block will be invalid. So this is the way that blockchain protects itself against people who wants to change the data inside the blockchain. This is only one way. Another way for blockchain to protect itself is by being distributed. Distributed means that not only one user have the data of the blockchain. It is distributed among the computers in the network. It is distributed among thousands and thousands of computers who have the same blockchain. I will give you an example in the next slide. So, blockchain, actually, we call it, it's distributed, that's why we call it distributed ledger. It means that many users can have the same version of the blockchain, and they form a network. All these users have the same copy of the blockchain, and they can contribute and work together to add data to the blockchain. Other people can join the network. If someone joins the network and wants to work in collaboration with these people to add data or to update this blockchain, he will automatically receive a copy of the blockchain from the other user. Means that all the users in the network, maybe thousands of users in the network, they will have the same version of the blockchain. So which will make it very secure. So this is a network that will be formed as this person will join the network. So, what happens if someone in the network wants to add some data to the blockchain? For example, let's assume that this person has some data and he wants to update the blockchain. And then he will create a block. He will put his data in a block, and then he will send it to the network, to the whole users in the network. He will send the block for each one to confirm and validate it. Because one thing is very important in this system. Actually, these users don't know each other. And normally, since they don't know each other, they don't trust each other. So how can these people trust this one if this block is valid? So this person sends the block to all the people, and then these people, they will check if this block is valid. They will see the data inside, and they will check if this block has a hash, which is the digital fingerprint, and then since this block will join this chain, they will check that this block, the previous block of this one points to this one. As I said, each block have the hash and the hash of the previous block. So they will check if this hash of the previous block is the same as the hash of this block. And if they check and they find that all the data is valid, they will accept, and they will add the block to the blockchain. So this is how all these people, without knowing each other, without trusting each other, they can update the information on the blockchain. They have all the same copy of the blockchain. So, with this technology, we know that cryptocurrency, they use the technology of blockchain, but how can we use also the blockchain technology in other industries? For example, hospitals, they can use the blockchain technology, which is distributed ledger. All these hospitals can have the same copy of the blockchain. And they can put, for example, medical records of people here. For example, let's see that you live in Japan, and you always go to a hospital. For example, 20 years you are going to the same hospital. And this hospital, they have the records about you, about your health, for example, 20 years. And let's suppose that you move to the United States. For example, let's suppose that you go to a hospital for a health problem. And then in this hospital in the US, the doctor, before prescribing something, he needs to access to your data. This will be complicated now, because the hospital in the US, he has to call the hospital in Japan and ask them for your data. And then the hospital in Japan will send the data to the hospital in the US, which will take a lot of time. Maybe you will be in critical condition and you cannot wait for your data to come to the US. So by using this technology, if you're a hospital in Japan, they can put your data in the blockchain and automatically it will spread to the other connected hospital around the world. And by your password, you can go to your hospital in the US, just give them your password, and automatically they will access to your data. And then they can make updates to the blockchain in the US, and then your medical records will be transmitted to all other hospitals around the world. So this is only one example of how blockchain can be used in other industries. So now, let's talk about Bitcoin. As I said, Bitcoin is one of the 1,500 cryptocurrencies existing in the market. But before talking about Bitcoin, let's talk about a basic transaction of money transfer. For example, let's suppose that Bob wants to transfer money to Alice. He wants to transfer, for example, $80. Bob, if he wants to transfer the money, he needs to go to a trusted institution, for example, bank or PayPal. So in this process, he needs a third party, trusted third party. So the bank, when she will get the transaction of Bob, it will check the ledger. The ledger contains all the transactions of all the customers in the bank and also account balances. So, and what is particular about this ledger is it is centralized. It means that the bank is the only one who has access to this ledger, can see it or can edit it. So the bank will check the ledger and will see if Bob has enough money and then will approve the transaction. It means that even if Bob's money is in the bank, Bob's need the approval in the bank to transfer money. If the bank, for any reason, don't want to transfer the money, she can reject the transaction. So, needs bank approval. For example, if if Bob is living in Japan and Alice is living in the US, so they will have like different banks, and Bob wants to transfer money from Japan to US, the money will jump from bank to bank to bank to bank until it arrives to the US. So this will take a lot of time, and there will be a lot of transaction fees. For example, if in this case, if people send $100 to Alice, maybe when deducing the transaction fee, she will end up getting only like $90 or $80. Also, we have the risk of bankruptcy. If the bank gets bankrupt, it will be very difficult to get your money back. And also another important thing is the possibility of thieves. If the ledger of the bank is attacked by a hacker, he can just take all the money. So this is because the ledger is centralized. The bank is the only one who has a copy of the ledger. But when we talked about blockchain, the information is in many other computers. Even if the hacker take the information from this bank, it can be recovered from other computers around the world. We will explain this in the coming slides. So, what about Bitcoin? Bitcoin is the first cryptocurrency ever created. It was created by Satoshi Nakamoto in 2008. And the definition it gives to Bitcoin is this: a purely peer-to-peer version of electronic cash that would allow payments to be sent directly from one party to another without going through a financial institution. So, more information about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the first cryptocurrency. It can be sent to anybody, anytime, anywhere in the world. There is no central authority to control Bitcoin or to control money supply of Bitcoin or Bitcoin transaction. So no central authority can shut it down. Bitcoin ledger is public and can be accessible by anyone. As I said, it uses the the blockchain technology, which is distributed ledger. It means that the ledger where there is the Bitcoin transactions are in many computers around the world. Transactions are verified by thousands of computers and stored in the blockchain that I explained earlier. And this blockchain can be seen by anyone, and anyone can contribute to verify transactions done by Bitcoin. And Bitcoin are created through a process called mining. We will talk about mining in the coming slides. So when we speak about Bitcoin as a currency, but how can we know if something can be a currency? Actually, Bitcoin, we cannot touch it. It's not something physical. But why people consider it as a currency, a cryptocurrency? So this is the 6 characteristics of money. For something to be a money, it must be durable. For example, if you have a bill, 1,000 yen bill, you can use it many times. It's durable. So the same as Bitcoin, it's digital money, so it cannot be destroyed. Second, portability. It means that money should be easy to transport from a place to another place. It's the same as Bitcoin. It's easy to transfer. As soon as you have just an internet connection, you can transfer the money to everywhere in the world. Third one is recognizability. It means you can make difference between two 1,000 yen bills. You can make difference because each one has a specific serial number. The same also with Bitcoin. You can use math to make a difference between two Bitcoin coins. Scarcity. It means that a money should have a limited supply, which is not the case actually with the US dollar. The federal bank, it keeps printing and printing money, which creates inflation in the market. But Bitcoin has a limited supply of 21 million Bitcoin only. Fungibility, it means the ability to change this money to another product. So it's the case for Bitcoin. You can change it and buy and use it to buy like stuff on the internet. Divisibility, it means that, for example, $1 should be divisible to small units. It's the case of Bitcoin because one Bitcoin is divisible to 1 million Satoshi. It's a small parts of Bitcoin. So you can imagine with 21 million Bitcoin, how many Satoshis it is.
What is Satoshi?
Satoshi is a small unit of Bitcoin. It's like cents. When you have $1, you have cents. In one Bitcoin, there is 1 million Satoshi, small pieces. And Satoshi, we call this, because of the name of the creator, it's Satoshi Nakamoto, so the small pieces we call it Satoshi. So how can you transfer Bitcoin? If you want to transfer Bitcoin, you can use your computer or just your mobile phone. You can install what we call a Bitcoin wallet. It's like the wallet we have to store our coins or money. Bitcoin have also a wallet where you can store two things. The first one is, we call it private key, and the second one is public key or public address. Actually, when you install a Bitcoin application on your wallet, the private key, it should be secret. You should not communicate it to anyone. It's like your password to access your funds. So this, you hide it. And then this is the public address. This is the address you will use to transfer money from someone to you. For example, if someone wants to send you money, Bitcoins, just open your phone and you show him this code. And the sender, he will use his phone to scan this code, and then he will just take the amount of Bitcoin he wants to send, and you will immediately receive it. So a wallet actually is used to store your private key and your public address. So this is the way you can actually transfer Bitcoin from person to person. So let's talk now about Bitcoin transaction, and we can see how it differs from a traditional transaction. So let's imagine that you have your Bitcoin wallet and you want to send money to your friend. You want to send Bitcoins. So you will use normally your private key to access to your wallet, and your friend should send you the public key. It can send you this code or only these numbers. And then you scan this public address and you type the amount of Bitcoins that you want to send. And then you will create a transaction from you to your friend and the amount of bitcoins you want to send. And then next, your transaction, it goes to what we call a pool of transaction, where there is pending transaction, there is yours and many other people's transactions. They are waiting here. And since we say that in Bitcoin, we don't need any third party to confirm or to check if transactions are valid, who is going to make transaction verification to see if the transactions are actually conform or not? These people, we call them miners. Miners are individuals like me and you who connect to the Bitcoin network, and there is thousands of miners around the world, and they have a copy of Bitcoin blockchain. And these people, what they do is that they check if the transaction is valid. It means if the transaction have the sender, the receiver, and the amount of Bitcoin. They say there's thousands and thousands of miners around the world. So this is what we call a Bitcoin network. And everybody can join this network and can also participate in the verification and validation of Bitcoin transactions. Let's see that there is 3 miners in the network. Each of them, they have a copy of Bitcoin ledger. Here, there's all transactions that were made using Bitcoin. Each user in the network have a same copy of the blockchain. If this person wants to be a miner and wants to join the network and participate in the transaction verification, he got automatically a copy of the Bitcoin ledger, and he will be part of the network. So let's talk now about the Bitcoin blockchain. In the Bitcoin blockchain, there is blocks. As I said, it's the same as before. It contains data, it means transaction of users inside, and then there is the number of the block. As we call it, it's a block hash. It's a unique fingerprint or unique number for this block. And also it has the hash of the previous block. So what is particular about Bitcoin blockchain is that each block, for miners to make each block, to put data inside the block and to create a block, it needs 10 minutes. It means that all the miners in the network, the 1,000 miners in the network, they take Bitcoin transaction and they put them in a block and they compete. They have to compete to find the block hash. They have to solve a very difficult mathematical equation to find the block hash. And the block hash, it takes 10 minutes to find. It means that they consume a lot of energy and they use powerful computers to solve this mathematical problem and come with this unique number. And all this, we call it proof of work. It means that Satoshi Nakamoto, when he created the Bitcoin protocol, he said that miners should work very hard, should compete in order to make a block actually. And then, once the miners, they create a block, they will put all the transactions inside the block, and they will compete to solve the mathematical problem. The first one to solve the problem will accept his block. His block will be accepted and added to the blockchain. Let's suppose that this miner found the block first, before these people. And when he will find the block, they will send a message to these people. He will say, stop, I found a valid block. And then he will send the block to all the miners to check the transaction inside, also to check if this miner solved the mathematical problem correctly, and they will check if this block, the previous number of the hash is the same as this one. And if he got 51% of the votes from the network, his block will be accepted and he will be added to the blockchain. This transaction will be added to the other transaction. And this miner will get rewarded by Bitcoins. So this is how Bitcoins are created. It means that miner, they should work very hard to verify transactions and create a block, and then they get a reward of Bitcoins. This is how Bitcoins are born.
Does it take the same time to check? Does it take same time for checking? Like
Actually, in average, it takes 10 minutes.
For checking also?
Yes, to find, actually, to put the transaction in the block and to solve the mathematical problem. And we will see after why it takes exactly 10 minutes. So this miner, if he finds a block, he will get a reward of 12.5 Bitcoin. And these 12.5 Bitcoins, they cost actually $100,000. It means that this miner, he can keep these Bitcoins, he can use them to buy things, or he can sell them. And then these Bitcoins, they came into circulation. So this is how actually Bitcoin are created. And as soon as these people find a block, these people validate the block, immediately they start again. They start taking other transactions, putting them in the block, and start again competing. So blockchain security. Let's assume that one of the miners got greedy and he wants to cheat. Maybe he wants to not to solve the mathematical problem and got the Bitcoins for free. So let's assume that this person created an invalid block. He cheated to create a block. So as I said, he needs the consensus of 51% of the network. So he will send the invalid block to all these miners. They will check the block and they will see that it is invalid. They will reject the block and they will not add it to the blockchain. And then they will cut all connection with this miner. It will be out of the network. So let's talk about Bitcoin supply. As I said, each block it takes 10 minutes to solve, and every 10 minutes we have a miner rewarded at 12.5 Bitcoin. As I said, the Bitcoin supply is limited to 21 million, and the last Bitcoin will be mined in 2141.
I'm sorry? Last Bitcoin?
Last Bitcoin will be mined or will be available at 2141.
Okay.
This is the date where the last Bitcoin can be mined, can go to circulation. Why? This is why Satoshi Nakamoto he said each block will be created in 10 minutes, and it will get the miner will get a reward of 12.5 Bitcoin. It means that in 1 hour we will have 75 Bitcoins. In 1 day, 1,800 Bitcoins. In 1 week, 12,600 Bitcoins. 1 month, 1 year, etc. So it means that with this equation, we have a clear visibility how much Bitcoin are we making every day, every week, every month, every year. So, as I said, each miner, he got a reward of 12.5 Bitcoin. And as I say, the supply of Bitcoin is going down and down and down. The more miners they work, the less and less reward they will get. In the next coming, it's every 4 years, the number of the reward is cut by half. Here we are in 2018. Maybe in 2020, 21, the reward will be cut in half, and the miner, if he find a block, it will be only 6.25 Bitcoin. So Satoshi Nakamoto, when he created the Bitcoin, he wants to stimulate digital version of gold. As you know, the gold, we work more and more, we invest more and more money, and we get less and less gold, which make it rare, which make the supply of gold small, and then the demand of gold increase. That's what make it precious and make its price to go up. So the same as Bitcoin. Satoshi Nakamoto made the Bitcoin protocol so that each 4 years the reward is cut in half until there is no Bitcoin issued. So with this, we will guarantee a limited supply of 21 million Bitcoins. And since there is no inflation, there is no more Bitcoins mined, there will be no inflation. And this will make the value of Bitcoin increase more and more. So, as I said, Bitcoin is developed in a way to introduce digital scarcity into cryptocurrency, and it is similar to gold. The total supply is 21 million, and it will be completely mined by 2141. As of today, there is 17 million Bitcoin in circulation, mined. As of today also, the value of these 17 million on the market, it's $141 billion. Each Bitcoin today, it costs around $8,300. So scarcity creates demand, which turns the market, which makes the Bitcoins more valuable. So let's talk about the price. The Bitcoin price, when Satoshi Nakamoto created Bitcoin, it was just a penny. And then it grows from $1 to $30 to $100, and it reached its peak in December and reaches $20,000. And then started going down. Actually, when it reached $20,000, it got attention from a lot of government and financial institutions. So they tried to regulate Bitcoin. And then Bitcoin price actually is very sensitive, it's volatile, and it's very sensitive to news. Whenever there is some bad news on the market or some country is banning the Bitcoin, the price goes down. So let's talk about the first transaction ever made using Bitcoin. On 22 May 2010, a person made the first real transaction by buying 2 pizzas at Jacksonville, Florida for 10,000 Bitcoin. This is the first Bitcoin transaction. These 2 pizzas now cost $80 million. The most expensive 2 pizzas in the world. So what are the advantages of Bitcoin? You have payment freedom. It means that you don't care about bank holidays, borders. You can send money to anyone in the world at any time. Even in countries where there is no bank, as soon as the receiver has just a cheap Android phone, a $30 Android phone, he can receive Bitcoins when he installs a Bitcoin wallet. Very low transaction fees. You can send money internationally with paying just pennies as fees. Security and control. Bitcoin payments can be made without permission of the bank. All the transactions made by Bitcoin are anonymous. It means when you make a transaction, you don't give away your private information. When you go to the blockchain, you will not find your name, you will just find ID like your public address, but no information about you on the transaction history of Bitcoin. And as I said, all transactions are publicly available on the blockchain that I will show you later. Disadvantage of Bitcoin, degree of acceptance. Nowadays, not all people they accept Bitcoin, and not everybody is aware of the existence of Bitcoin. So, and since Bitcoin is not largely adopted by people, it makes its price very volatile, and it changes depending on the supply and demand. Ongoing development, there are still, the Bitcoin protocol is still in development, and new features and services are being added to Bitcoin to make it more and more secure. So, how to buy Bitcoin? You can buy Bitcoin using ATM or using these websites. We call them online exchanges. You can buy Bitcoin using dollar, yen, or any other currency. Or you can also use PayPal or a bank transfer to this website, and then you can buy Bitcoin. In Japan, you can buy Bitcoin using these 2 websites, Bitflyer or Zef. Where can you spend Bitcoin in Japan? You can spend Bitcoin in Marui, Bekamera, Yamada, and other stores. Maybe you can go to some stores and you can find Bitcoin accepted here. It means that you can pay your purchases using Bitcoin and just using your mobile phone. So where also to spend Bitcoin around the world, Subway, Expedia, Boomerang, Microsoft, Dell, Wikipedia. You can also make donations to Wikipedia using Bitcoin. So lately, I heard some news about Rakuten. Rakuten, they want to make their own cryptocurrency. They will transform the Rakuten points to a currency. So you can use these points to shop even in Rakuten US. So in this case, you don't need to worry about exchange rate. You can use these coins to make purchases in Rakuten websites and other Rakuten's partners. Okay, so thank you. This is the end of the presentation. Please, if you have any questions, you are welcome.
A couple of slides back, you said about putting the transaction inside a block.
Yes.
What do you mean by that? Can you just explain?
Okay. Okay, here. Right? As I say, a blockchain is normally in the normal bank you have a database where you put all the transactions of the bank. But in the blockchain technology, we use blocks. It's like, imagine that you are working in a bank and you have a small box. And whenever a customer, he come and give you checks, you check if the check is valid and you put it in the box. And the box, you put it in a store. And you give a number to this box. The next day, also, you take the checks that you got from customers, you put them in a box, and you put it also in the storage, and you give it a number of the previous box. So it's the same. All these transactions, you transform them and you store them. It's like a hard drive, actually.
When the miner is mining for the hash,
Yes.
the transaction was created by a Bitcoin transaction, suppose, something like that.
Yes, the miners, they take all these transactions, they check
around
them.
the world, by which are done by Bitcoin.
No, the miners.
Yeah.
The miner, the people with computers, they check this transaction and then...
Made by Bitcoin.
Hmm?
Made by Bitcoin. Transactions which are...
Yes, Bitcoin transactions, yes. It's Bitcoin transactions. They check all the transactions and they put them in the block.
Okay.
Yes. So you can go, I will show you actually. We can access now to Bitcoin ledger online, and we can see transaction made by other people. Let's see, the name is block, the name of the website is block chain.info. And so this is the website blockchain.info. This is the Bitcoin blockchain.
Can you show the screen share?
Sorry. So when you go to this website, blockchain.info, you can see all Bitcoin transactions made around the world. And when I was talking about the blocks, this is the blocks. Actually, the last block number is 519,106. It was created 10 minutes ago. The last block, it was created 16 minutes ago, and the last block, it was created 20 minutes ago. So when we go inside this block, we can see the transactions. This is in Japanese, I don't know how to change in English. Actually, this is the number of transactions. There is 2,363 transactions inside this block. Block number 519,106. And I say, there is each block have its own hash. This is the hash of the block. You see? And this is the hash of the previous block. This is the date where the block was created. And this is the reward of the miner, 12.5 Bitcoin. And here are the transactions inside the blockchain. You see, this transaction is 12 Bitcoin. And you can see the value in dollar. This transaction is 107,000 US dollar. So this is also another transaction. And here you can see the senders. This is the sender, the public address that I told you. If you want to receive money, you just give this public address. So this public address, this person sent Bitcoins to these two addresses. So all the transactions are here, but we cannot know who did them. This is Bitcoin actually privacy. You don't share your own information. But if you have your public address, as I said, the public address you use to receive money, you can just put it here, search your public address, and you can follow your transaction. Where is it? You can see your transaction on the website. And also we can see pending transactions.
Itu kalau gitu the back. Back to it. Okay, kita coba bawa.
Why is it pending?
This is the transaction that are waiting to be verified and put in the block.
How long does it take to verify?
It takes 10 minutes. Every 10 minutes, the transactions are put in the block. Every 10 minutes. So this is the unconfirmed transaction. They are waiting to be put on the block. So miners are now working to put this transaction inside the block and to verify them. So this is why we call it public ledger. It's publicly available, but nobody can know who you really are.
I also want to share a thing that I watched last month. There's a documentary named Banking on Bitcoin. You can find it on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
It talks about Satoshi Nakamoto.
Yes.
Who is he? And then how did Bitcoin, how did the idea, how did he run the idea, and who joined his team to create Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's quite interesting. I mean, like in your slide, I can find something new to compare with the documentary, but like to come back here, you're gonna see the development.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna see the periods of the development of Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's quite interesting to have an overview about Bitcoin because, like for me, I don't have any idea about ICT and IT in general.
Mm-hmm.
I knew about Bitcoin, I think in the photo, in on IM class, we talk about Bitcoin and blockchain, but I couldn't understand it all. So I one day I just looked something on Netflix and I saw the documentary and I watched it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I got to know more about Bitcoin now. Well, maybe with your slide and this film might be, if people out there are interested in Bitcoin, they might have the deeper knowledge and may invest or I don't know, mine or something.
Yes, yes.
This.
And what is
it?
Yes.
It's released on late 2016,
Mm-hmm.
early 2017. If you are interested to watch it, Banking on Bitcoin.
Yeah. Okay. Definitely, I will watch it. What is interesting is that Japan, you can use Bitcoin legally. You can buy it, you can sell it.
But for some country, for example, my country, they ban it.
Yeah, me too. My country in Morocco, it's banned. Yeah.
Because at first I couldn't understand why the government banned it, but then I realized that because for example my country is, we are one party.
Mm-hmm.
So if they allowed for Bitcoin to use it as a currency, like the government cannot control
Exactly. Yes.
the money where it come from, and also the other argument that they said that Bitcoin they are support for what was it?
Money laundering.
Yeah, money laundering.
Yes. There are people who are using Bitcoin for money laundering because we cannot control where the money comes from and where money goes. Yes.
And also what they are buying.
Hmm?
What they are buying. Either it is
Yes,
illegal
yes,
drugs
yeah. It's
or-
also
yeah,
used in the deep web, on the dark web,
yeah,
to
yeah.
buy some illegal stuff. Yes, because of its anonymity. Yes. Any other question? Yeah.
Do you think that there is any new business chance around? So far we can buy the Bitcoin as investor.
Yes.
So one of my friends, she actually buy 1 million Bitcoin.
1 million in Bitcoin.
But then the value became 20 times. Then I work at the real estate company, so she asked me to help to buy the real estate. So
Yes.
I was very surprised actually. Then actually I don't have any knowledge about the IT. So but I'm very interested in this.
Yes.
So do you think there is any other business opportunity?
Yes. Okay, I'll answer first your what you said about you don't have enough knowledge. Actually, to use Bitcoin, you don't need to know all this. All what you need to know is just how to use the wallet, the Android application. That's all. Just know how to send money, how to receive it, and how to buy. It means even the monetary system. Actually, we don't know anything about the monetary system. Just take bills, pay, and everything, but we don't know actually how things works. It's the same as Bitcoin. And also, some people, what they do, when you talk about opportunities on Bitcoin, it's that people, they buy Bitcoin and they use it as a store of value. Like what people, they do with gold, they buy gold and they save it, and then when the price goes up, they sell it. The same what they did with Bitcoin. Some people, they bought Bitcoin when it was like $100, $200, and they buy it and they just save it. Now it's $8,000. Even people who bought Bitcoin at $1,000 and they were thinking, oh, it's expensive at $1,000. Look now, it's now $8,000.
What is going on there?
This is the number of transactions who are waiting to be verified. So when the miner creates a block, they compete, they create a block, validate it, and immediately they start again taking transactions from here and putting them in the block. And doing again the mathematical calculation, make the block, send it to the blockchain, take again transaction from here, and it's.
By the way, Azaki is very much interested, and so J coin is gonna be introduced in Japan. You know that Mizuho Financial Group. They're gonna introduce J coin, the cryptocurrency.
Yes.
It is backed by yen. So maybe Bitcoin will be outdated for Japan. I mean, Japan will regulate this. They will make it out of the table, and they will prioritize the J coin because there is government sponsor.
Maybe government, they are not obliged to use Bitcoin. Maybe they can create their own coin. It's now possible. As I said, in the market there is 1,500 coin. It's really easy now for any company to create its own coins. For example, Japanese government, it can create like Japanese cryptocurrency, Japanese yen cryptocurrency.
Already created.
Yeah,
J coin. Yeah.
no, actually they are still discussing about it. Not yet decided. Maria, please.
I had a question. Exactly what Aki was saying. Is there actually potential to still make money on this? Because at the moment it looks like it's gone through a boom, and now it's a very volatile period.
Exactly, yes.
And I think for someone that hasn't invested beforehand, we're a little bit nervous that if you put money in now, you've missed the boom already, and it's volatile, so you could actually lose a lot of money overnight.
Actually, in the history of Bitcoin, it was always the same. Which means that sometimes Bitcoin was like $10 and immediately jumped to $100. And when he come down to like $40. And then after he go up to 120, and then 120 or for example 1,000, and he come back to 7,000. It's like always like this. And now it's down. Now it's like, as I said, it jumped from 20,000 to 8,000. This is what they call in trading actually correction, price correction, because it goes so fast, which is not normal, and now it's correcting itself. Now it's at 8,000, but there are people who are saying now some prediction that Bitcoin by the end of the year it might reach again 20,000 or even more. So it depends on what you want to do with Bitcoin. What you can do is just you can buy Bitcoin now and forget about it maybe for 1 year or 2 years. And maybe at that time you can see like it will double 2 or 3 times. It depends, but nobody now can control price of Bitcoin. It is very sensitive to news. Whenever some government bans Bitcoin, the price go down. But whenever a government accepts Bitcoins and there is new companies using Bitcoin, the price just jump quickly. Yeah.
Then my other question was just in terms of the Bitcoin value. When do they close the market on that? Is it at the end of the day? Does it work on a certain stock exchange? Or is the price varying 24/7? Like, is it varying the whole day?
As I said, there is no central authority to control Bitcoin. So Bitcoin trading is 24 hours, 7 days a week. It's always actually happening.
So price variation is all times of the day. There's no market for it to close on. So you can't say, like, for example, the dollar and the yen are at, let's say, $1 to 107 yen. And then the market closes at that price, and you know till tomorrow morning it's going to still be that price.
Actually, what I know is that Bitcoin price close at, it's of course trading and Bitcoin transaction is, as I said, it's like 24 hours, 7 days a week. But the price, it closed at 9 a.m. Japan time. Yes, 9 a.m. the price is fixed, closing price, and then it starts again.
Okay.
Yes, but the transaction, not like stock market. I think they open, they work in the day and they close at night, but it's not the case of Bitcoin.
Alright. And then if you can, please share your presentation, that would be lovely.
Yeah, of course, I will put it in the IUJ, Cryptocurrency and Blockchain Club. Yes, we'll find presentation. And also, I will put the slides and also the video.
Cool.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
welcome.
The scheme of altcoin is same as Bitcoin.
What do you mean?
So I mean, there are many altcoins. So all altcoin have miner, each miners. So each miner in Bitcoin miner.
Yes.
And or other coin miner.
Yes. For other cryptocurrencies, also they have miners who check the transaction, because in Bitcoin we have what we call proof of work, which means that you should work very hard actually to solve the problem and earn Bitcoins. Bitcoins are created when a miner creates a block, but there are other coins. The coins are already mined. So the miners don't do the mathematical equation to create Bitcoins. To create coins, actually, not Bitcoins. To create coins. Coins are already available in circulation, and they are, when you buy them, they are distributed. So each coin has its own property. This is what we call proof of work. It means that you have to work to solve a block. In the other coins where the coins are already mined, the miners, they get reward on how many Bitcoin, on how many coins they have. For example, you are a miner and I am a miner, and we both like, for example, 100,000 coin of a specific coin, and we keep it. And we get reward of this as long as we keep this 100,000 coins, we get rewards on it. It's like when you put money in a bank and there is interest coming. So when you buy 100,000 coins and you keep them, you get rewards depending on how long you keep the money. We call it proof of stake.
Yes. And one more.
Yes.
In the demand for the future, you said Bitcoin will increase. The price will be increased.
It's more likely to increase. I cannot predict the price.
But
That's what I heard in the news. I'm not responsible of the
but,
Bitcoin.
so
But in the history, that's what's happened. It means go up, down. But I cannot guarantee.
yeah, of course, yes. But I think in Japan, Japanese young people, I think 20% of Japanese young people have already get own Bitcoin.
Yes.
Me too, as me. So I think that demand is limited only in Japan because early people is already get it. So, but I think your country is banned now.
Yes.
So there are
That's
100% possibility in your country.
Yeah.
So I think all the global, in terms of global view, there are more demand is in Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. So you expect that more Bitcoin will be increased.
Yeah, because what I said is Bitcoin's supply is going down. It means there are less and less Bitcoin born.
Supply is down.
Yes, supply is decreasing, which creates scarcity in the market. Scarcity means that if we have like limited supply on something and very high demand, it means supply is going down and demand is increasing. The value of this, for example, Bitcoin, it's increased because there is an increase in demand on Bitcoin. And also, not only Japan, they have Bitcoin. It's already famous in the US. It's legal.
Korea.
China, Korea, Canada, and many countries now are adopting Bitcoin. And also, what is interesting is that many financial institutions are now interested to buy Bitcoin and to use it for transaction or as a store of value. Yeah. So before nobody knows about Bitcoin, but once it's peaked and reached 20,000, and say people they start now searching about Bitcoin and buying Bitcoin, even if they don't know what to do with Bitcoin, they bought it. Okay, so thank you very much for So as I said, I will share the video in the IUJ Cryptocurrency and Blockchain Club, and also I will share the slides. Yes.
How many coins do you have?
Bitcoin, I just have some pennies, just some satoshis. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's take a photo together.
I was. Let me see if I can see someone.
Yeah. Thank you.
Are you mining?
Investment.
No, that's right.